Ustaz.
Assalamualaikum.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi. How are you, brother?
Alhamdulillah.
Well, it seems like you have problem.
You know that our government had declared restriction of
yeah.
order. My university also closed,
Oh.
and I have to adapt with online class.
It's too bad for you. Okay.
It has never happened in my life.
So that is your problem.
Yeah, that's my problem.
Okay, I understand. You also you're a student. You're having difficulties in the COVID-19 situation, right? Okay, I understand your situation. I can help you.
How?
Did you watch the short scene just now? What happened to that student that had a problem with adapting or copying online class during restriction movement order? So here I am to tell you about one book that can help you and that student how to make a creative and effective solution to that problem. The title books that I mentioned is 101 Problem Solving Technique from James and Higgins. Before that, I will introduce myself. My name is Rusdan Shakir bin Idros and my metric number is 1712755. I will explain to all of you the first step and second step that this book had mentioned. Before that, the step that I will explain is the summary from this book. So I will explain only one among other steps that had mentioned. For other steps, you can find this book or download it in the caption below this video. The first step, to know the problem in general, we have to do environmental analysis. What is environmental analysis? Environmental analysis is we see what happened in our circle situation, gather the problem and analyze the situation that happened that bring to the causes of the problem. From there, we will see from major problem to minor problem. In that case, in that student case, he had a problem with adapting to the online class during restriction movement order. The main issue is adapting with online class. The environment problem that we see is the restriction movement order that had been declared by the government. So, the next step list all the possible problem that can be get from the main environmental problem that we had justified just now. In environmental analysis, the book has shown some of the concept to analyze the problem in comprehensive and easy way. The concept that I think this is the possible can be understood by all generation is benchmarking. The first example is benchmarking wheel. What is benchmarking wheel? Benchmarking wheel is the figure of this chart like a wheel or circle like this figure. Benchmarking wheel can show to us how to analyze our current environment in a general form. In we to identify the problem and also the type of the solving problem methods, we have to use benchmarking in order to see how far our big problem in this chart they had been listed from main problem to the causes of the problem and bring back to the main problem to see the circle of the benchmarking problem regarding to the adapting with the online class. The first one, we put the main problem, online class, and then we put the environmental problem, which is restriction movement order, and then we put the causes of the main problem, which are education center closure, quarantine at home, and learn from home, until it reach back to the main problem, which is online class. Therefore, this concept, we can see how far our problem can reach and we can see the benchmark of this environmental analysis. Second is benchmarking chart. Benchmarking chart also a method that we can use to identify our problem through the environmental analysis. Benchmarking chart is one of the method that has used more details. Why I said like that? Because benchmarking chart analyze from major problem to the minor problem. It is also show the causes of each main problem that had been listed. Just our friend had a problem with adapting with online classes during restriction movement order. So he had a few problems there regarding some problem. For example, restriction movement order itself, limited internet access, and unusual place for learning. Each of the problem will show the causes in the chart. For example, under RMO, they have another problem that causes which are limited place to go, and then cannot go to that place that have Wi-Fi access, such as MACD or library, and cannot enter to education center. Under limited internet access, the other problem is no Wi-Fi access at home. Not everyone have Wi-Fi access at home, and then the limited mobile data and internet interruption. Thus, using benchmarking chart, also we can see the major problem that we face. In this chart, the problem had been stated from major problem to minor problem. This shows the benchmarking chart have a wide solution to identify the environment of our problem that we face. Okay, next we will move to the next step in identifying problem. The next step is recognition of the problem. You need to be aware that a problem or opportunity exists before you can solve it or take advantage of it. It is from information gathered in analyzing the environment that you will learn that a problem or opportunity exists. The phase we have to recognize the problem using inverse or reverse brainstorm. In inverse or reverse brainstorming, we can see how far worse the problem will be if there are no action towards the problem. From this reverse brainstorming chart, we can see how it works from identifying problem to evaluate the ideas and identifying solution. But in this phase, we only want to know how far the problem can reach and take the reverse problem to an idea how to solve it. Then take the idea and reverse it back to see how far was the idea when it does not work, and lastly we can evaluate the problem. Last from my explanation towards reverse brainstorming in using the reverse pyramid chart. Using reverse pyramid chart also can produce wise solution in recognizing the problem using reverse brainstorm. From this chart, we can see that the first step is evaluate each idea and make action plan. This phase tells us to evaluate the ideas and make a decision plan towards the problem. The selecting problem, promising idea, and the process will be brainstormed to collecting negative idea. This phase shows how inverse brainstorming happen. From there, we will see and understand the problem. This phase allows us to understand the problem and make the next step in problem solving. For example, in the student case that he had a problem in adapting or coping with online class during restriction movement order, he had to reverse brainstorm to know how worse if he did not do the right action, and this reverse brainstorm also want this student to understand his problem and recognize his problem. For the next step, I will pass the floor to my friend Khalil to explain more about identifying problem and making assumption from this book summary. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Mullah Khalilullah bin Abdul Hisham, on tip number 1710487, and flowing from my friend Rushdan, my part is identify problem from the book of 101 Creative Problem Solving Techniques by James M. Higgins. So, okay, on this part, identifying problems is the first part we have to go through before finding the solutions. And identifying problems, we need to find the real problem instead of merely unrelated problems. So we will move on what the concept that is be introduced by the author on identifying problems. Fishbone diagram, as what the name, fishbone. Fishbone is a bone without the flesh. This fishbone diagram was developed by Professor Kaoru Ishikawa of the University of Tokyo with the purpose of identifying and list all the possible causes of the problem at hand. This process is called the fishbone diagram because of the unique way in which the information is gathered, is arranged visually, and the problem and its causes are recorded. They form a diagram that resembles the skeleton of fish. The problem is written down and enclosed in a circle of the right side of the sheet of paper, which is the head represent of the main problem, and then the straight line is drawn to the left and appear much like the backbone of a fish. The next step involves the drawing stem at a 45-degree angle to the backbone line, and at end of each these stems are listed all the causes of the problem that can be brainstormed. Additional stems may be added, maybe at the branches that can be placed on each stem for further breakdowns of each cause. The causes should be listed with the least complicated nearest the head of the fish and the most complicated at the tail, with those in between listed on a continuum from least to most complicated. Okay, and we move on making assumption. Okay, make assumption on the possible future factors in the problem situation. So what does this mean? Assumption about the future underlie every decision you make. Assumptions set constraint on your solutions. People frequently force solution into the shape they want by manipulating the underlying assumptions. So I will show you one step on how to make the assumption. It is called assumption reversal. So what does this mean by assumption reversal? This assumption reversal, you are looking for a real solution to the newly stated problem so much as you are trying to recognize the limitation of the solution you come up with when you use your origin assumption. You can also use this process to get new ideas for solving the original problem. Sometimes you can use it to get the new ideas. So I've listed the steps of assumption reversal. It's pretty much easy. You just list all the assumptions on the problem for the first step, and then for the second step, you just revert the assumption that has been made, and the last step is you solve the reversal assumption on the problem. So I will show you how to apply this assumption reversal on a problem. So our group had made a decision on the problem of regarding student in MCO or RMO in this COVID-19 situation, on how student coping with these difficulties. So I have listed down the first step for assumption reversals. That is, you will have to list all down the assumption on the problem that regarding on the student. Firstly, poor internet connection. So the student cannot engage or undergo the online platform because of the poor internet connection, unstable internet connection. And then secondly, the student lost focus in class. It is because of the inconvenient surroundings such as loud and pleasing sound. There is interrupting for the family, of course. And then we move on to the third, limited of resources. This is much difficulties and problems for the student because the student don't have access to the library and the books. So it's quite difficult for the student to finish the assignment in time. So okay, we move on to the second step, that is reverse the assumption that we have been made on the first step. So in the first step, we stated that the student had a poor connection of the internet problem, right? So in this step, we have to reverse the assumption that we have been made and turn it into the student had excellent internet connection. So how the student had the excellent internet connection? The student had provided with a good and stable connection, had enough quota and speed to fulfill the student's need. And then we jump on to the second part, that is we stated before, the student had lost focus in class. So we reverse it and turn it into the full focus in class. So that is mean the student had a surrounding that is as much as help the student on focusing in the class. Maybe like the situation is quiet and peace, so that the student can fully engage in the class. So the third part, we stated that before the student had limitation of the resources. So in this we reverse it and turn it into numerous of resources. So this mean the student have ease of access of book, journals and thesis. So the last step is we solve the problems on the reverse assumption that we have been made on this second step. So the student with excellent internet connection. So what is the characteristic of the student that has excellent internet connection? We have to be clear about that. So the student that has excellent internet connection is a student that has a telecommunication that use the telecommunication provider that has strong internet connection around his area. So a student should find the telecommunication provider that has a strong internet connection around their area. And then the second part, full focus in class. So we stated before that student that has full focus in class has a surrounding that help him or her to focus in class, such as quiet and peace situation. So how can they get that situation surrounding? One of it, the student can remind family before having class to avoid any interruption. So the family of the student will be aware that their sons or daughter have class, so they will give space to their daughter or sons. And then the last part, in the numerous of resources, we said it before, they have ease of access of the books or the journal or the thesis. So how can they get the ease of access? As we know, the university recently has provided for the student a pre-access libraries books by using the identification card or metric card of the student to get an access of the all books, journals, and whatever related to the resources of the library. So that's all for me. So we wrap up that we speak about to identify the problem. Then we use the fishbone diagram, and then we use the assumption reversal to get to reverse on the assumption of the problems, and then we get the solution from it. So I've passed the floor to Aiman that will explain to all of you on generating alternative and evaluation and choices. Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Aiman Fahmi. I will continue our group presentation on the books of 101 Creative Problem Solving Techniques by James M. Higgins. So I will continue our group presentation on the creative problem solving techniques. So the next process is generating alternatives. By Michael Levin, former president of Taste Inc., creativity is necessary for survival in today's environment. All hotels, once you get outside of the truly 5-star hotels of the world, are the same. The product varies only in the color of the lobby to survive. So to survive, innovation is the key. So okay, next, how we are going to generate alternative. So there are many processes that are highlighted from the books. So I'm choosing mind mapping because mind mapping is a versatile technique used by over 250 million people worldwide to capture ideas in a way that's proven to boost productivity, creativity, and memory. How to mind map? So how to create a mind map in only 5 steps. Okay, the first one is to create a central idea. So the central idea is the starting point of your mind map and represent the topic you are going to explore. So here I'm giving the example of the central for my group. Central idea is the students' difficulties adapting with online learning. So the next step is we are adding branches to our map. So to get your creative juice flowing is to add branches. So main branch which flow from the central image are the key themes. So after let's say you have a paper and then you draw a bubble at the center and you write your central idea and then you add branches to your map. You can add your branches as many as you want, but here I only add 2 branches as you can see in the slide as example, and then you add your keywords So after the branch, you need to include your key idea. So keep this idea as brief as possible. Will allow you to start off a greater number of associations compared to longer and more complex phrases. So my keywords is computer literacy, technical issues, internet bandwidth, and time management. So the next step is you color code your branches. So here I have 4 branches highlighting by 4 different colors. The first one is orange, second one is pink, the third one is green, and the last one is in the blue color. So the example of whole brain thinking is a color coding your mind maps. So it will link the visual with the logical and it helps your brain to create a mental shortcuts. It allows you to categorize, highlight, analyze information, and identify more connections. The last step is to include visual signifiers. So right now you have your beautiful color mind mapping. But to make it more impactful, you can include images, you can include visual, you can draw, you can sketch, you can, if you are using your laptop, you can add image from your Google image. So the image have the power to convey much more information than a word, sentence, or even an essay. So here I'm giving the whole thing that that our group have done on the mind mapping. So the topic is on the my central idea is how to cope with COVID-19 challenge as a student. So I have 4 branches highlight by 4 different colors, which are green, orange, blue, and red. So the first the first keyword is learn new skills. Next, communication with your teachers, lecturers, or professors. Time management and self-motivation. So here I have 4 keywords. To keep it simple and tight. Okay. After I have 4 keywords, I'm adding more branches to my keywords because I want my idea to flow more. To generate more ideas, to generate more alternatives to solve my problems. So here, as you can see, there are many images that I add, I'm adding in my mapping to make it more interesting and more impactful, so that I'm not just remember my keywords by read my keywords, but also when I'm noticing the images, so it helps me to solve my problem and to add more idea to my mind mapping, so that I can adding more branches to my mind mapping. So the next creative problem process by James M. Higgins is choosing among the alternative. So the techniques to choose among the alternative that I'm highlighting here is dot voting. So dot voting is a simple tool. It's a simple tool used to democratically prioritize items or make decisions in a group setting. It's an easy, straightforward way to narrow down alternative and converge to a set of concepts or ideas. So in the voting, each individual in a group is given a number of tokens or dots that can be each assigned to an alternative, which is part of a set of alternatives. So here is our group examples. So how to dot voting? So first, you can have a simple. You can have a sticky notes. You can use your sticky notes, and you can write the alternatives that you have generated from the process before. So here, I'm writing all the alternatives that I have generated before on the sticky notes, and then I will pass it on the wall or on any wall, and then you can make a voting constraint. Like you give like in our group, each member can only vote 1 times, and each member is given only 3 dots. So as you can see, the create online study group with your friends is the most chosen alternative that have been voted by my groups. So here you can see that you have narrowed your alternative, that you can so that you can list down the chosen alternative that you can use to solve your problems. So uh, that's all from me. I hope that we can use many more techniques on the creative problem solving, so that we can solve our problem creatively and innovatively, so that it will be impactful to our life and will be easier to our life. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So my name is Alif Shafiq bin Muhammad Sofi, metric number 1719253. So basically, I will present about control. Actually, control no specific techniques are presented here. So several of the approaches described in chapter 3, which is chapter 3, creative techniques for analyzing the environment, recognizing and identifying problems and making assumptions. All of these are control techniques basically. So traditional control activities overlap with analyzing the environment and identifying and recognizing the problem. So I will present about how diagram. So let's talk a little bit about how diagram. So basically, how diagram is similar to the YY diagram. If in YY diagram we always asking for a Y, so in how diagram the problem solvers will always ask how. So we find a solution, we identify the steps necessary to implement the solutions for the several problems. So our group will find the solutions for our problem, the difficulties among students in coping or adapt with the online class. So one of the solution is improve the quality of environment at home. So this is the example of the how diagram. If you can see here, the red one is the solution. The main solution is just improve the quality of environment at home. So in the first scope, or in the first row, which is the yellow one, just we have three. We have first is have a good lighting, second have a specific places for online class, and third avoid any noise or interrupting sounds. So for each of the ways we have a several explanation, which is it's more detailed. So we move to the first one, which is have a good lighting. So it explains by each students can buy a study lamp to have a good lighting, or they turn on the light of the room, so it will better to have the quality of environment at home while having an online class. Second, we move to the second one, which is specific places for online class. So basically we put three example of the room or specific places for online class, which is personal room, which have their own privacy. Second, study room. Third, bedroom. Okay, so we move to the last one, which is avoid any noise or interrupting sounds. So there was 3 explanation here, 3 points, which is the first one is remind family before attending the online class. This is to make sure there are no any interrupting sounds or noise. Second one, while having an online class, all the students might switch off the mic. And lastly, use earphone or headphone for a better sound, so we can hear their explanation or the lectures from the lecturers with a better sound. So that's all from me. Thank you.